We're back. This is the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan on the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network. Airing live from San Bernardino. Longtime organizer, first-time radio host. Back at the mic after our break. We are joined by Steve Matthews. He is a former colleague of mine who's worked in the labor movement for a very long time. He was, I think his first union job was a Teamster job.
International Teamsters Union organizer.
Yep. And, then he went to work for SEIU and a few other unions over the years. Came to work at 1932 for a while. And then ultimately he's now retired. And we appreciate your service to the membership as a whole and to the labor movement. You're still active. And why don't you want to introduce yourself and talk about, you have your own podcast too.
I have Riverside Rank and File podcast. We're now in our 12th show. We're privileged to have you, Randy, come and do 2 shows with us, and trying to get on a pace of at least 1 show being produced every week. I just want to say before we go on, I was in the green room listening to the show, and
you didn't fall asleep?
No, I didn't fall asleep. I just want to assure you that
pull that mic just a little bit closer to you. There you go.
I just want to assure you that, seeing you said you were colorblind, that I am in proper Teamster black and there's no purple on me.
All right.
So, given the past history.
Right.
And that I would have watched the show regardless if I found Robert's encyclopedia back there. So, I mean, the work that you've done in this area has been very clear that you've been very focused in on the need to keep money here for people in the inland area.
In the local economy.
The local
absolutely.
economy. And the Teamster Advantage, and I just say when I worked with you, I utilized the Teamster Advantage to get $2,000 off my truck.
And you're still driving that truck?
Well, I turned that in. I got another
okay.
150, but it's from the same place.
That's good.
But I didn't get the Teamster Advantage because I was no longer in the Teamsters at that point. I come from a Teamster family, and so Teamsters mean more to me than every other union. It always has, because when you're brought up with something, it means something to you.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say that there's respect for you and the organization here and the work that you've done.
Appreciate that.
So
Steve, tell us about your we'll get into a bunch of subjects. Obviously, you and I can riff on labor and issues in labor or stuff that we can get into that in a minute. But you have a podcast and you've had a number of guests on. Who else have you had on there besides myself on your show?
Well, we've had people on that are, we had Raquel Ruiz has not come on yet. We're going to ask her to come on.
Oh, okay.
She is.
Hopefully she's doing well.
She's doing very well. She's an organizer now with IATSE. We had Antoinette with us, who you know from before, and she's working with AFSCME at this point.
Yeah, I think she's got the, is it $32.99 or whatever? Yes. Local has the Ontario unit, because we have the Ontario unit too, and they have some of the general units. So.
Right, so she has that. We've had people on that are like labor historians and whatnot. Robert Foster, who does both labor and Civil War history.
Right.
So that's some of the people that we have had on. Clearly, we've got tons of other people scheduled. Again, we're set for the next 2 to 3 months with people coming on once a month.
Oh, that's awesome.
Once
that's
a week.
Good stuff.
Once a week.
And it's good to see this platform leveling up and others using this platform. I think it's potentially a very powerful platform and a place for us not only to communicate, but start to build the library of information. And that library will help us, really, build out a robust sort of, information when it comes to labor, different perspectives, a different understanding or, different viewpoints, but consistently bringing more and more resources for people to be able to listen to, how important the labor movement is and how important it is to become active and make something happen. What are your thoughts on that, thus far?
Well, I think it's wise for us to build that library, if you would, of resources for people to use. I think there's any number of, from labor history in this area, there's a deep fight for farm workers here in Coachella, which is still part of Riverside County, which is, my area of the equation, if you would. And we had Amalia Datslan on, who at 17 years of age was trying to build unity between the Filipino farm workers and the Mexican-American farm workers, and was grabbed by security from one of the planters and thrown into a van, and then that caused a strike from the Filipino workers walked out of the fields. So that type of history is something that will teach people what we can do to win, right? And we're in a historic area right now that you're involved with organizing in the warehouse industry, which this is the biggest fight that we have going on in labor in this part of the world. It's an historic challenge that we should have all the resources we can from all the podcasts and anyone that can talk about this to bring support to what's going on in that fight.
And speaking of that, younger workers are consuming content differently than we did. We're obviously old dogs here compared to that youngster sitting right over there. According to him, we're all baby boomers, which we're technically not baby boomers, but that's okay. He's so far removed from our generations that he feels like everybody's a baby boomer. That's okay. We have fun with this. There isn't a day that goes by that we have a conversation and say something that the younger generation, and we obviously get to witness that firsthand with Robert here, that we get to experience those differences in communication and how it's being consumed. I guess my question is, how do you think labor should adapt to this?
I think that everyone in labor should pay attention to the fact that we have not been communicating with younger people the right way. And the attention span is also an issue, right? People have a lot going on with their lives. And
are you saying he doesn't pay attention?
No, I say he's got a lot going on in his life. So each of the things that he can pay attention to, he's trying to get me in trouble. Yeah. I can get in trouble on my own. So I just think in the podcasts that I do, we don't usually do more than 20, 22 minutes. It is an attention span issue. At 20 minutes, I've got my producers waving to me and said, done. If I can't get it in 20 minutes, it's not worth saying because people will tune out. And I think that's a piece of it, right? If you're driving and you listen to a podcast, you can do that as opposed to have the radio on. You have alternatives as how you're going to ingest your information.
So that means nobody is listening to the show right now. Everybody tuned out over an hour ago.
Except you do segments.
I'm just kidding.
So you do.
Yeah, we
segments,
do. We take them.
right?
We take the segments and then release the
and
segments.
You get bite size.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's the same thing.
I'm just
right?
having fun with it. So.
Okay.
So what do you think about that, Robert? This the younger generation and younger workers are consuming their content very differently. Mm-hmm. How do you think we should adapt?
I think what Steve
You're supposed to say everything you're doing, Randy. I'm just kidding.
Well, no, yeah,
just kidding.
Absolutely. But I feel like you're obviously young in
I'm younger
in
than
labor.
Steve.
You're still
I'm younger than him too.
Right. You're still considered young in the labor movement, right? Even though you've have decades of experience.
True to a degree, yeah.
People before you should have adapted to younger workers, right? That's my opinion, and I think that's true to today, where there's still like all these Amazon workers that have now become Teamsters and operating without a contract, and they're doing all kinds of great work. They're now on this, right? They're now on this. They're in the movement, in the labor movement. But workers, if we were able to do this years ago when it was more popular or whatever, podcasting is making its way back. But I'm talking about radio. I think we would have captured younger workers better. I think we would have captured them early on, right?
Isn't that incredible when you think about it? Radio still is a powerful way to communicate, but your point that you just made, I think, is really valid for this discussion, and that is that radio, and quite frankly, certain parties and certain super wealthy people really saturated the radio to a degree that they controlled the narrative and message, and then we were absent. Like what we're saying is we were absent from it. And how this medium is sort of revisiting itself or reinventing itself is in the kind of podcast setting, right? So that's why we take our live radio show and then we turn it into a podcast and then we do it in more digestible chunks, but because we're trying to adapt to how that content is going to be taken in. The point is it's still here. It's just a slightly, it's got a modern twist to everybody tuning in a certain, AM station, and then that turned into FM, or which is crazy. You would think now AM is no one listens to AM, and it's not true. There's a ton of people that still listen to AM. I would say 25% of the cars I get into, there is a number of AM stations that are on their dial that they still kind of bounce between when they're driving to and from somewhere. And part of that's because AM has such a long reach. Its ability to actually go over a long geographical area is part of it. But secondarily, it's free, and it's easily digestible. And working families who don't have a lot of extra money to be part of all these subscriptions or have Sirius XM or whatever it is, they have the ability to listen to something like this for free.
But you're in their car because we are one of the highest per capita commute places in the world. So it's a combination of both of those things. So you want to be in their vehicle every morning when they're going to work, right? So you get that bite size in that. It's not a short commute here, but you get that message in a way that you're not going to get to them any other way. It's when they're most accessible, if you would, to listen.
Right, and you've got them captive.
Yep.
That's how, other individuals, I won't name their names, but that's how they really dominated the market for a while and really controlled the narrative. And quite frankly, when you really look back at some of the things that were said and done, pretty kookaloo. Like, how did they get away with that? Because there was nobody else. And so, all right, well, I guess I'll just listen to this. And then, eventually, the repetitive information over and over again sticks.
Yeah, if only a labor leader at that time did exactly what we're doing now. Like, picked up the mic and just started blabbering about whatever it was at the time.
Are you saying we're blabbering here?
No, I meant like about a certain
just
topic.
said we're blabbering.
Okay.
That's rude.
Is that a young term? Is that a compliment?
I say that often. I like the word blabbering.
Is it good? Is it compliment?
Huh?
We're going to have to do a poll here. We're going to have to ask everybody that listens, is blabbering a compliment or is it a shot at us?
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't use blabbering.
You're backtracking here.
Yeah, I know, right? Now I'm
Robert, stick to your guns. Say blabbering is good.
So
Even if it's not.
Even if
Yeah.
it's not. Write it out, man.
what I meant to say was, if only a labor leader at that time, when all those other anti-union podcast or radio show hosts were talking about what they were talking about, was able to pick up the mic and talk about the issues their members are facing or the issues that matter to workers at the time. I think that should have been appropriate in that time. And but now we're playing catch up. Now we're trying to beat those airwaves, and I think in a lot of ways it's working. But I also think it's there's also a technological difference. A lot of people, when they get in their cars, they'll use Spotify, or they'll use, at least in my generation, right? I don't have AM, FM radio ready to go. Like I don't even know where the button's at actually for that, and I don't
It
even know if I
says
have a button.
AM and FM
Do I have
right there on your dash.
Right there.
I promise you.
on my dash?
On your dashboard.
On my dash.
It's on your dash.
Okay.
I promise you.
Well, I'll have to find it.
As soon
But
as
I'm
the
sure it's
show's
there.
over, we're going to go out to your car and I'm
Yeah.
going to point to where it is.
I'm sure it's there. I just
and it
never
should
used
be
it.
AM 1050, KCAA 1050, and 106.5 FM.
No, I'm
is
telling
what
you,
they should be on.
I've never used it.
And you
So
won't be blabbering when you show them.
Robert, do you remember the not powers? Lost it.
What?
What?
He's got a brain.
so
fart
I've
over there.
used like when my mom
What
was
was it
taking me
I
to
showed
schools
you in
the morning-
Needles? What was it I showed you in Needles?
Oh, cruise control.
Cruise control.
I didn't even know that exists. It's a game changer.
Right?
Cruise control. It's a game
It
changer.
saves you from getting $700 tickets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cruise control.
I learned after the fact. So
Well, no, it saved you from more tickets.
From
if
more
you're
tickets.
using it
Yeah.
now, if some people will keep their foot in it
Yeah.
and won't put it on cruise control and they'll keep
yeah.
getting tickets.
Yeah. So like I
then
can
lose
leave it
that
at 90.
license.
I can leave it at like 80 miles per hour or whatever. I can just, and I don't. My feet is off the. I'm acting like if it's brand new, huh? Like my feet are off the pedals. It's just cruising.
As
It's
long as
actually
you don't
amazing.
jump in the back seat and abandon the wheel too. 'Cause
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't drive. It's not
You
self-driving.
still need a human operator there.
You don't want to go that road.
Yeah.
So I just want to extend an invitation to you while we're talking this now part of union podcast and radio shows across the country, the network, that we're part of with Riverside Rank and File, there's over 200 in the country right now between podcast and radio shows. It sounds like a lot, but it's not.
Right.
350 million.
It's a drop in
people,
the bucket
It's
compared
not
to-
a
yeah.
lot. And the people that do the podcasts and the radio shows, some of us get together every Tuesday at 10 o'clock, and they're asking for you to come on that.
Well,
So-
we definitely should get. You can count on us getting on there. Get with Robert. Let's set up schedules so that we
Sure.
can get on that, and collaborate with all of those union podcasters and show hosts, because we definitely want to help occupy the space. You know, I actually am hopeful that someday we will have a station that's all labor all the time. Not necessarily here, but at some point, labor will have a place to house to where no matter what time of the day you tune in, it's going to be labor of some sort playing. There's probably enough content out there now to take it all and dump it into sections, into pieces to where you could have 24/7. We just got to kind of start to corral it. We're actually building that foundation and that infrastructure for us to house it ourselves if need be. But definitely, I think that it would be super advantageous for labor if there was one spot that they can all digitally connect to. Obviously, someone in New York can't listen to 10:50 a.m., but they can sure push a button and stream whatever is being played,
Or go to the podcast.
or go to the podcast. But if you have a station, people do. A lot of times, people just I'll turn on a certain station. I'll turn on a certain genre. They're not necessarily thinking they want to listen to a specific song or a specific. It's just okay. I'll hear from labor. So it really doesn't matter what's playing in the lineup, right? It's like, oh, that sounds interesting. It's no different than the success of radio or the success of iTunes or the success of any of these formats where people are listening, XM radio, any of these formats. It's not like you're pressing a button and I want to specifically hear, Beat It from Michael Jackson. You're like, I want to listen to pop, right?
It's an area of interest.
Yeah, an area of interest. So an area of interest, if the area of interest is labor radio, then at any time of the day you tune in, you're going to hear one of these few hundred that are doing it. We got to usher them and try to get them in that space to where we're all hearing from each other, and the general public it's becoming more access to them.
I appreciate that vision that you're putting out. I think a step in that direction is to take inventory of who's around us and what unions actually have podcasts, for example. I only have heard with what you're doing, United Domestic Workers have a podcast. Desmond Prescott from that group is coming on my podcast tomorrow.
Oh, good.
But I don't know who else has anything. I don't know that the Labor Council does. I just think it's an opportunity missed
Yeah.
if these organizations are not doing this. Where is the leadership that we're reaching out to workers in general? I've known for a long time your approach is organizing. And in organizing, we need to be ahead of the curve. We need to be reaching people. We shouldn't be reactive, right? We talk about us being reactive in this format. We are. We've been negligent to some degree in labor, getting to a point that only now we're starting to do this. You've been doing this now for a couple of years, is it?
Yeah, 3 years.
3 years. Congratulations for that. But who else has? That's it. I don't know anyone else has a labor radio program.
And hopefully we
in
can
this
get that to
area.
change. Yeah. And I think that and I've been, we've been at the Labor Council, we've been at a lot of places, and we're kind of agitating this space, and I've invited people on, and I go through my rap afterwards and explain how powerful this can be and how powerful it is to some degree. And, I explain that all these potential that we have, like we have also a 24/7 stations called the Worker Power Radio Network.
Teamsters Radio Network.
The Teamsters Radio Network. Right now, that's what when you came into the breezeway, the courtyard, that's what you heard playing in there.
Yep.
So we already have this platform set up, and you know how easy it is for us to take a podcast and just take it into the server and play it at a certain time and literally just start stacking it. So we can do it. It's just we need the rest of the labor needs to start doing it. We're doing the radio part of it right now, just playing music, because we're just getting people used to that resource being out there. And starting in a few months, I'm going to press more where we start using it more to like do an announcement, or we send out the link and we want you all to tune in at 2:00 or at 5:00. We're going to give you a quick report on this, or we're going to give you an update on something that's going on that we think a lot of people may want to listen to, and then we're going to test it.
Well, we also run Teamster Advantage ads on it too, advertisements for the small businesses that Mark communicates with almost on a daily basis, and they do, like, for example, I'm Robert, I have a taco shop, we have Taco Tuesdays, $5 or $2 a taco or something, like that's things that we do. But I'm interested to hear what you guys do. Like, do you guys do, you said they're on Tuesdays, what do you guys talk about?
We talk about the different episodes and different shows that each have planned that did the week before, and what they had planned that week.
Oh, nice.
And we share content, right? So there's really good content from some of these shows. There's a spectrum, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, if we're talking about building the vision you have, which is great, why not on the same week, all of us on some day or some broadcast say the same issue that we push, as a way of walking into this. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to happen because we take deliberate steps to make it happen, right? So whether it's an event, whether it's something that you're doing or another union's doing that we all need to get behind.
So you said it's on Tuesday at 8 a.m., right?
It's Tuesday at 10 o'clock.
Oh, 10 o'clock.
Our time.
Okay.
And there are people get on from D.C., there's people from the Northwest,
Mark,
people from the...
Can you make sure you get on that?
Yep. So it's you or
Let's
anyone
start-
that you designate
Yeah.
can get on.
Let's start by, and it's every week, right?
It's every week.
Okay.
It's every week.
See?
And I think this,
Fixed.
yep, a man of action. There we go.
Well, obviously you see we're doing our billboards, we've got the buses, clearly as an organization, we're doing a lot of things that the rest are not doing.
Not doing.
But, hopefully I'm not saying this to like talk down. It's more of like a friendly challenge. Hey, others can do it too.
It's about telling the truth.
Yeah. And imagine if every union had a billboard.
Yep.
They wouldn't be just littered with only attorneys.
Yep.
I mean, what attorneys have what? It seems like injury attorneys have 75% of the billboards. But,
And the ads on television.
and then yesterday we flipped the billboard to have some of our 7-Up drivers and workers there. And man, immediately, it was up, and just in a few minutes, we started getting texts right away. Hey, man, saw that. And then somebody sent a picture and a text, and they saw themselves up on the
Their
on the billboard.
management even saw it, because they use it's actually on the billboard going towards Ukaipa, and their management even saw like their billboard. So it's amazing to see like what it can be used for, right? It can be used for you, or it could be against you, against the employer. So it's really cool.
That is right.
I
All the billboards in just a matter of 20 or 30 minutes can be used to send a tough message if need
Tough
be.
message.
That's
I
right.
really hate to say it, there's too much of labor that's asleep at this moment, when they most need to be awake and fighting. You're looking in a very awake way of taking advantage of every opportunity.
It's interesting. I was talking about at the beginning of the show how tired I was, and I wanted to take a nap during the show. So you're right.
Sleep at the wheel.
I'm asleep. Some of us are asleep at the wheel.
I don't think we'd get away with that now with the cameras and trucks and stuff. Years ago, I did 10 years as a yellow freight driver, and I don't know if I could function with all the stuff that they have in the trucks, watching the drivers now.
Yeah.
How do you feel about now? I mean, I didn't know you were a truck driver. How do you feel about now they want to replace human operators like yourself once was with AI?
It's offensive. I don't trust it. And I think you said earlier that there's too much the profit factor in the AI that we shouldn't trust it. Do you trust corporate America? If you are a worker, you're active in a union or not, do you really trust corporate America with your life? And that's really the question. And so the AI in their hands is not trustworthy. It's not something that we should put our life in danger for.
Yeah.
I trust Teamster truck drivers on the road because I was one. I knew my fellow yellow freight drivers. Unfortunately, that doesn't exist as a company anymore, but I know they really cared about doing a damn good job.
And, joking aside, let's use the sleep issue. there's a rule that a commercial driver, anytime feeling fatigued, has a right to pull over and take a nap. And you obviously have to record it correctly and you have to report it correctly. But, we helped create that rule a long time ago because you don't want fatigued drivers on the road falling asleep with a vehicle that runs people over. And that creates a very safe environment. I know, we joke about it, and the employer wants to frown upon it, but too bad. Like I've obviously represented drivers for over 30 years, and whenever I have an employer trying to bring down discipline on a driver that is used their fatigue provision, I'm always like, go for it. Let's see how that works out for you in the end.
Exactly.
Let's see how that works out for you, because all of your drivers are going to be out of service real fast if you decide to try to come down. Regardless of what you may think the person's doing, don't even go there. Always let the driver do what they got to do to protect the road.
I don't know anyone in the community of our people in the public that would do anything but want to make sure that people are safe on the road driving trucks.
Right next to them.
Right next to them.
Right.
It's intimidating to people that aren't used to being in trucks, that there's so many trucks on the road.
Yeah, I witnessed this, literally the aftermath of this horrific accident about a year ago on 95 in Arizona, making a right onto 62 in California. And this truck coming up 95 fell asleep and blew right through a red light, full speed, 65 miles an hour, and not only went through the intersection, took out two cars that were going through the intersection, then went right over the top of a gas station pumps, and then right into the front of the gas station's
Wow.
the gas station's not lobby, but the retail area, the store, and the driver fell asleep.
Yep.
The driver fell asleep. The first thing I know immediately is that's not a union driver. No driver has to work under those conditions. Let's get one thing clear. However, a union driver knows that they're protected and that they could lay down. They could take that break. They can stop. They can notify dispatch and say, "This is what I'm doing. Regardless of what you think I should do, this is what I'm doing." That's what creates the safe environment. Corporations have convinced enough people and changed the industry enough to where now most of the roads are dominated by non-union drivers that people feel unsafe because of those stories I just laid out. It is very rare that you see a union driver get in an accident.
As a union driver, we would do our circle check and make sure that the vehicle was safe to take out, and we would refuse to take the vehicle out if it wasn't safe. If you're non-union, that is putting yourself in danger of not having a job, because non-union, they're going to threaten you. In a union job, where you're a union driver, you're not going to take something out that's going to endanger you or the public, and you got a union behind you.
About 25 years ago, another driver story that people in the Inland Empire might be able to remember. About 25 years ago, a flatbed truck carrying some concrete pipe coming down the Cajon Pass, the straps broke and the pipe rolled off and rolled right onto a vehicle and killed all the passengers in the vehicle next to him. When the driver was, obviously questioned by the higher patrol, at the scene of the accident, the driver had actually tried to flag the straps and flag the load, the strap of the load, and the company told him he had to take it out. Now, what the driver didn't realize, and the driver ultimately ended up going to prison for this, because the driver has a right to say, "I'm just not driving it.
Yep.
I don't know what to tell you." In that was a non-union driver.
Yep.
In a non-union environment, the driver feels like they got to violate the law, or else their job is at stake. A union driver knows immediately, I don't know what to tell you, I just ain't taking it out. those straps are faulty. This thing needs to be red tagged. Whatever it is, they know that they're going to be able to draw that line. And for those that remember, because it was all over the news and it was something that was talked about for a few days after that, those of us in the industry recognize that problem immediately. Most people won't remember the first part of it, which is that the driver had flagged the problem and then felt pressured into it. And then they don't understand the rules of that, right? They only know about how the stuff rolled off and hit the other car and caused such a devastating accident. The reality is that's happening every single day in our environment, not just for drivers, but on a different level for warehouse people, for workers, and anyway, I'm just obviously blabbering.
You mentioned environment. So there's another part of environment with all the warehouses and the trucks. Riverside and San Bernardino counties are the two most air polluted counties in the country. If you're a member of the public, you should want to see that the union represents all of these workers, because if you get in negotiations, you can also advocate for the public that that company is responsible for cleanup. There's a way of binding the community with the union in terms of how we advocate together. And we should be in this together. The community should want all of these facilities to be union, because that's the basics to start fixing this problem. I don't know if that's something that the public is aware of, that these are the two most air polluted counties in the country because of all of the clusters of warehouse
truck traffic
and trucking that's here.
I think the community is aware of it. I actually
they're
started,
choking on it.
Yeah, I actually started in political activism with warehousing, and I immediately
You were like
noticed,
12 when you did that, huh?
like 13, yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. We're not actually joking,
I was,
right? Yeah.
That's how I actually met one of our staff members, Carlos Gonzalez, on this local. But I was, and I still passionate about it because, and I teamed up with Launa. I asked Carlos with the Teamsters to come out and help, because warehousing is really, and the smog from it is not caused by the warehouse, caused by the truck, right?
Yep.
Is literally killing. I have asthma. It literally sucks during the summer, especially with the fires combined. All this is to say is that I think the community is aware of it. It's our leaders, elected leaders, who need to start
Creating
getting
policy
involved.
to deal with it.
And unions too. I believe, like I said before you came on, we can have a society that can balance good warehousing policy with good labor. Because I know the carpenters and the building trades build these damn things, but they also need to be, and I tell this to the building trades too, so I can say it publicly, you guys need to help us organize the workers after, the Amazon project. Everyone should be on that, right? So anyways, that's just me blabbering about warehouse.
all the labor agreements that we want the construction unions to have afterwards, we want to make sure these are all union jobs. It's like, it doesn't end there.
Yeah.
Once the place is up, right?
Once you built it, yeah. So it's, I think, so, and your podcast too, what success have you had with it? Like, I know you've had on labor leaders as Randy, you're going to have tomorrow, what was it, from UDW,
Desmond
right?
Prescott.
Desmond Prescott,
Yep.
who's also part of the Labor Council. What successes have you had with the podcast? I know for us, we really enjoy really going back after and listening to the podcast and seeing all the amazing success we've had with other labor leaders and elected officials. What have you guys?
Before he answers that, I got a live response to something that was said here from a former driver, a retired driver. On more times than I can count on one hand, was I expected to leave a facility with an overweight trailer. All I would have to do was tell the dispatcher to sign my paperwork saying I was told to, and he never had to leave. In other words,
liability.
Right. It's like, whatever. Like, you guys sign off on this. I'm releasing.
But it's not
my
liability on the driver, though.
That's correct.
Right.
That he's like, and clearly that was this driver's way of, in a fun way, kind of saying, all right, well, you're taking me off the hook. You go ahead and do it. Again, a union driver understands. I'm sorry for jumping in. I just like
that's
when
a
I get
good
the
point.
live
It's
stuff
just- it's
happening.
just- I appreciate
I
the
always
feedback.
like it. Yeah.
I appreciate the
Good point.
feedback. So as far as, we're only in our 12th show, right?
Oh, wow.
And we've gone, I can't judge in the same way that you had 3 years of success here, but we have 8 podcasts, United American Network, and we're now the second most watched out of those podcasts. So I can
Nice.
say that much. In 3 months, we've gone to brand new to being the second most watched.
Oh, nice.
The Joy of Democracy is the most watched of our programs. Joy Silva, who is the chair of the Democratic Party in Riverside, is that's her program. Straight Out of Riverside is probably the third most watched out of our programs. There's someone that does high school and community college sports, and they got regular following. So
Okay.
there's a bit of a spectrum. I'm the only union podcast out of our group.
Oh, okay. And that's the same group that's on Tuesdays, right?
Well, no, that's across the country.
Oh, got it.
The podcast network across the country are people that have their own podcast from the East Coast to here to the Northwest.
About labor.
About labor. That's
Because
just union.
we're part of the labor radio network. Is that similar, right?
No, that's a different one.
That's a different one?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
similar though.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's someone that has something that says Power Hour too. That's not you. That's up in the. I think they're in the Bay Area.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a similar name. I had to call mine Riverside Rank and File because there was another one out
Rank
there
and
that's Rank
File.
and File. So just so that's why I always say Riverside, because otherwise I'm violating something or other, I guess.
Yeah. There's also another great podcast I actually listened to alongside. It's called the Valley Labor Report. Randy was on it once.
Yeah, those guys do a good job.
Really good job. Like it's a bunch of young labor activists, they're union members as well, that they run this show. It's really good. You should check it out. The Valley Labor Report. It's the only union radio show in the South, and they air out of, what is it, Louisiana?
No, I think it's Georgia, isn't it?
Or something like that.
Alabama, something.
Alabama, that's what it is. Yeah, it's
Alabama.
Alabama. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they do amazing content. So we should all connect one time over Zoom or so, and just collaborate on something, because this is really cool.
Have to make it happen.
Yeah.
Make it happen,
Yeah.
Robert.
Yeah. We have to
Get it done. Quit
put
talking
put
about
the
it.
young person to work.
Yeah, right.
Job security. It's job
All
security.
right.
So we
That's what
only
we
got
tell Mark all the time. AI can replace Mark at any moment.
We only got a couple minutes left. Steve, you want to close up on anything?
No, I just appreciate the chance to come on your show. I mean, you've got the senior aspect of this, that you're 3 years and you got seniority. And we just need to nudge people. When you came onto my podcast, you challenged the rest of the labor leaders to step it up. And we need to tell the truth to each other, and that's the truth. There is a certain amount of people that are asleep at the switch. Maybe it's good meeting people in their own way. It's time to wake up, and it's time to lead. And use the podcast as a wedge to make that happen. We have support out there that our listeners want to see something happen, and we'll get the reactions like you just got, that we're telling the truth to people.
Yeah. Last year we had some things happening during one of our open enrollments and a change with one of our health and welfare trust funds. And we used this format to do exactly what needed to be done, which is take 45 minutes and literally talk through all the things that would help everybody deal with whatever those questions were coming up. And guess what? We watched the confusion and the misinformation completely start to dissipate, because it just becomes a very powerful tool. And there's a lot of things that we can use this platform for. I've got a lot of ideas that we're going to be trying to work through, but I'm just, you pointing it out, I wanted to bring it up. Like, you could be very creative with this space.
You're very creative with the space. I will tell you, with the work that's being done with Amazon, that you guys are all involved with, use my space to have those folks come on. The more that especially the younger workers
Yeah, the
end
more they're
up getting
talking.
on various podcasts and whatnot, they're going to be better at how they reach out to people. That more people listening. Let's collectivize this. Each of us have our thing that we're doing. Let's bring this to bear, that we use the strength together.
Absolutely. So we got what, 2 minutes? 2 minutes, Mark? A minute and a half or two? Something like that?
Minute 45.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is how we're building worker power in the Inland Empire, the way we're building worker power in the Inland Empire. Did you want to close on anything, Robert?
No,
you
I'm good. I'm good.
You know, you look like you want to say something over there. Something
No.
to us old people.
But we picked on them enough.
No, I'm all good. No, nothing.
I always love catching him by surprise sometimes.
I'm like, wait, what?
He's like, what? Huh? What? And you know, Robert, you're always such a good sport about it. We appreciate that. We really do.
Thanks for the bullying.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Even better. Even better. He's all, thanks for it. He takes a shot in this. I'm just kidding. You know, we're building worker power in the Inland Empire, and the way we're building worker power in the Inland Empire, like I said, I'm asleep at the wheel today.
Jesus.
My rip is not going as well as it normally does. Anyway, you know, we got the billboards, got the buses. You know, we're knocking on doors. We got Teamster Advantage program. We're in more than 25 chambers of commerce across the system, and we're encouraging workers to talk to one another, to organize, to build a union, to get a collective bargaining agreement. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to your neighbors. Encourage them to build worker power, because worker power is what's really going to fix a lot of these problems in our country, and we're doing that right here on the Worker Power Hour. Longtime organizer, first-time radio host. This is the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corgan on the Teamsters Local 1932 Broadcast Network, airing live from San Bernardino. Take it away, Mark.